Morning, YouTube America. Well, as things go, we progress in life. We work hard, we plan, we prepare, do our best to meet the daily challenges and the long term challenges and our goals. As you may notice, I have myself here made a significant advancement in my position through a whole lot of hard work on my part and my wife, the generosity and help of some family members, quick thinking on my sister. We were able to procure the financing to purchase this 1990 Gulfstream. It is it is a literal palace on wheels compared to the Ford Focus that I've spent the last 4 months sleeping in. I have a nice full-on bed over here with all the amenities, working appliances, bathroom, heat, electricity. I won't lie and say that it's not expensive compared to the car. The car is very cheap to operate. Uh, this thing is a gas hog. It's a boat. Also, driving it around downtown or down through the highway and stuff is a challenge. We'll have a new challenge tomorrow, driving this thing in front of the down the park in front of the courthouse to get gas to do my weekly Wednesday registry. I still have the car, which is a backup. It's my mother's station wagon. It's now sitting in the garage where it should be. It is though another one less pressure on my shoulders. If the car had gone down, I'd have been in a world of hurt. Now I have a backup, so if this thing goes down, I can transfer to the car again. If the car needs work, it can go to the shop, and I'm not interfering or putting myself at jeopardy with the registry law of this state. It's a very important thing to my wife and my mother and I that they stay the hell out of prison. It's a bit of it was a bit of a challenge getting this thing. I've been looking at RVs for a few months, and recently the wife and I we accumulated almost 2 grand and started to seriously looking for one. And on Craigslist, we've seen several. Most of them were either not worth having or so far away, hard to get, or they just weren't available. You'd call, and they'd already been sold. This one here, on the other hand, it sat there for a little while. They wanted $5,000, and it was owned by a RV dealership, uh, RV Des Moines on Southeast 14th. Hey, if you're going to go out and get yourself an RV, I'd go talk to these people. They're decent people. I can't speak for the company, but the individuals that I worked with, they've been over backwards to help make this happen. To get the thing operational, there was questionable issues that turned out to be pretty simple once we all, knocked ourselves in the head for not seeing the obvious right away. They dropped the price to 3,500. It was listed at 5,000, so it was just short of $3,900 in taxes and licenses and all that. Frou for all. Put insurance on it. That's another $36 a month. So I'm beginning to pay where I didn't have any fixed financial responsibilities living out of the car. I'm beginning to have that now. I have put $120 worth of gas in this thing in 4 days. And that's daunting. Uh, Partly it's because of the gas. If it's cold, and I have yet to get the propane tank filled, so to get heat when I need it, I run the motor on the truck, and of course the generator pulls gasoline from the tank as well. And so when you have both of them running, you're double dipping into your gas reserve. So it's not totally surprising. Plus, I believe this thing probably gets maybe 6 or 8 miles to the gallon. I have yet to figure that one out. I'm going to start fiddling with the speedometer versus purchases to figure it out. One of the few things wrong with it is that the uh, gas gauge doesn't seem to work, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Uh, I'm a bit worried about the sheer cost of the fuel, but as I've said, I have a decent job with decent money and not a lot of overhead at the time. though I am now paying back two small loans to my family that my family incurred. Uh, that's not that huge. It's a huge deal that they helped. Well, we'll pay it back, and we're going to pay it back to sweet. That's an advantage of having no overhead. I will pay 2, 3 times the amount of payments required until it's paid off. So my goal is to get their loans paid off in the next 2 to 3 months, which is not impossible. I'd rather not have the family in a situation if my job falls through or something. You just never know with the world today. The excuse me, oh, this cold weather stuff starts getting the sinuses going. You know, I have to head out. Speaking of work, I have to work this morning at 10 o'clock. We're driving an hour away to I don't know, somewhere, and do something and then come back. The job we were at last night was a real dive, real grease pit. Unfortunately, we were unable to finish the job because there was not enough water pressure to run the power washer. This cost the company a couple hundred, well, over 120 dollars, $150 in wages with no income. The company's not doing all that hot, and financial speaking, every issue of this nature is bad. Uh, it bothers me because I want these people to succeed. If they succeed, I succeed. I can get another job. I've had job offers. The jobs are out there. Matter of fact, if there's ever a time to go find a job in this state, it's now. On the other hand, I don't like change that much. I'm getting older. I'm set here. I've got some flexibility I need to help my family. And these people desperately need reliable people. And while I don't consider myself the best person in the world by a mile, I am reliable. I will show up and work. Whether I am not perfect by any means. I make mistakes. Do what I can. Sometimes it's not enough, but you still need to do what you can. I don't know. There's always life lessons to be learned, even no matter how old you get or how young you are. There's always new things or things to be reaffirmed or to relearn or to learn that you haven't had to deal with before. You know, this here's many learning curves. Learning to drive it, in all kinds of weather. The limitations on the conditions, maneuvering it, finding a place to park it. I have a place where I'm legally able to stay, and it's designed to handle semis and crap, so that's not an issue here. But my job, the place is kind of small, so it'll be the first time I'll be actually parking this thing there today and leaving it to go to work. I drove in there with the wife over the weekend just to experiment, so I have a kind of an eyeball of what I need to do. Uh, One of the reasons it cost so much on the gas front was, the wife and I spent the weekend together, which is a novel thing. When you're married for 25, going on 26 years, and you can actually spend time with your spouse, sleeping in the same bed, under the same roof. It's important. It's important spiritually and emotionally, and it's not about the sex. It's about the companionship. And you know, we did that a few times in the station wagon, and it was like sardines. It was rough. It was doable, but rough. This thing, lots more capable, less more comfortable. Uh, though I did run both the heat and, as I said, both the heat and the electricity quite a bit, which burned up a lot of gas, about $25 or $30 a day. We weren't maybe 6 to 8 hours. Now, when I sleep, I shut it all off. When we sleep, and we shut it all off. So it wasn't that we ran for 8, 10 hours straight. Last night, I chose to not run. I ran the engine a few times to heat it up. Other than that, I let the generator off. Still want to try to figure out this propane thing. It's one of those things. You don't deal with that sort of stuff in your life. You ignore it. Now that all these other RV people, most of them can't park their RVs during the winter. They're not out there trying to do stuff in them like I am. They sure don't live in them. My Progressive, my insurance, they listed as my permanent mobile residence for insurance purposes. Yeah, go figure. So it is. It is my residence. It's far more luxurious than where it was, and better than the van I had thought about. I mean, there's some trade-offs. You know, I expected the gas to be a bit high, and I think it'll be better when the weather warms up because I won't have to run the motor, just drive it around. The generator, well, my needs are not that great. I'm not running the refrigerator. I don't need to do that. I don't need 42 lights on. I got a couple kerosene lamps and some battery operated lanterns that do quite well, and you only need a couple of them at a time. And of course, this is my main, source of entertainment and so forth. And I have a battery pack that plugs it. This thing plugs into nicely, so I can run it all day. As long as I can charge the pack up at my mom's, it's all good. It's one of those things. We all enjoy what we can. Uh, there'll be the occasion where the wife's here, and I'll probably run the generator at that point because its comforts are for her, not for me. The warmers, weather works up, we'll put water in this thing and get the plumbing and the sink and all that stuff up and running. You can winterize it and run it now, but I'm not familiar with on how to do that. You don't do it right, you mess up a lot of stuff, and there's no need for it. This place I'm staying at is all the facilities you need. It's just 5 minute walk away, if that. You know, even you can use some hot coffee, right? Mm. Anyhow, I'm gonna thank you for listening to me ramble this day. Maybe the two people to pay attention. One of these days, who knows? Maybe I'll pick up more viewers over time. It's an experience, y'all. I hope none of you have to deal with. Honestly, the situation, circumstances, being homeless, it bites. But being in prison's a hell of a lot worse, my friend. Enjoy your day.